so proud of themselves, so fat and satisfied. They can't imagine that someone like me would ever get inside their house.
Hello, welcome to this special episode of Holocron Entries. My name's John Blight, and joining me to discuss the latest Star Wars Disney Plus series trailer, Ashley Hopley.
Hey Dylan, excited to start going rogue with you.
That's right. Can officially unveil, because I put it in our Google Calendar like weeks ago and I just kept forgetting to say. I decided the Andor series on Holocron Entries podcast feed will be called Going Rogue Andor, whatever Star Wars show here. So how do you feel about that title?
Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
we're having trouble, you know. You shot down all my spy movie puns involving Andor or Star Wars.
Yep.
So yeah, this works.
Yeah, I think I was happy. I was like, no, keep it simple, going rogue. That seems to be a good idea. So
yes.
Let's get I want to get the main news before we get our trailer discussion. They've actually delayed this show. So they put out a trailer. Well, they moved the release date. I guess it's not really, but they put out a trailer which we'll get to this morning, of course. But originally the show was supposed to debut August 31st. Yeah, August 31st, and now they've moved it to September 21st. So I don't think it's anything other than they don't want to be going. They thought between Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, maybe we'll just move it. I think that's what I'm going with. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that would make sense. I guess the other thing is obviously they'll have She-Hulk still running at the same time, so maybe they didn't want to have too much overlap, especially with they got a fair bit of backlash to Obi-Wan kind of overlapping with Ms. Marvel, which they felt affected, which people, fans of Ms. Marvel, thought affected that show, but you know.
True, it could be.
Because people can only watch one thing all week from one streaming service. You know, they can't watch two different shows. It's not possible.
Why would you subscribe to a streaming service to watch more than one thing on there? That seems like a waste of money.
It's bananas, you know.
Or
they could just release stuff other than on a Wednesday.
Yeah, all that. They could do that.
You know, that would be another option, but yeah, okay, whatever. It would help us if it was not on Wednesday.
Well, I was going through our calendar the other week. That's why I put it through, because I was like, oh my God, between all these shows starting, I was like, let me get an idea of how this is going to all lay out. And it would have been like, there was weeks there where it was like, okay, Monday, we're doing South of King's Landing. So if you watch Game of Thrones, subscribe to South of King's Landing, our Game of Thrones after show. Wednesday, for a couple weeks there, we would have been doing, you would have been She-Hulk. We would have been recording All New Marvel Cast. Go subscribe to that podcast. We would have been recording this podcast, Holocron Entries, Going Rogue, Cassian Andor series show. And then on Fridays, we would have been recording the Lord of the Rings extended after show for the Rings of Power. Like, it was fucked, to be honest. So, I mean, it was going to happen, but I mean, and there's still some overlay here when this debuts. There's still Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones is like wrapping up, but for like a couple weeks there. But anyway, new trailer dropped this morning. What did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, it looks good. It's interesting. It looks very Star Warsy. It looks very different to everything we've gotten from them so far. I don't want to touch on all the actual like visual stuff. That's been a big discussion this morning on Twitter and that kind of stuff. But I think it's interesting this trailer doesn't focus a hell of a lot on Cassian. It's very much showing off a lot of the supporting characters. Obviously, which Skarsgård is it?
Stellan
Skarsgård, yeah, obviously playing a big role. So, yeah, it definitely looks like it's going to be an ensemble show rather than Diego Luna being the star. And they're kind of setting it up that way as opposed to Book of Boba Fett, in which we get, you know,
about the Mandalorian.
You know, which, you know, it's like, this is a Boba Fett story. And then it's like, Boba Fett's not really in it for several episodes.
Yep.
So, yeah. I really liked it.
I think this is the most exciting Star Wars trailer that we've had in ages. I mean, it's hard not to get into the visual thing because it honestly just has a liveliness to it that it's true.
But the favorite thought that came to mind is like the first shot is like the above shot of the woman like looking up, and there's like actual physical grass on the ground.
Crazy.
It's like almost like this ain't touch grass.
I don't want to spend this whole I just want to talk about the thing, but I will just get my quick thoughts out of the way because it has been a hot discussion point. I'm not against. I quite like the technology. I think it can serve a purpose, right? So obviously I'm talking about, what do they call it?
The volume.
Screen, the dome, the volume, right? That thing that they use and they've shot The Mandalorian on it, the Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, probably Ahsoka. Like all of this stuff's been shot on these giant, and in case you somehow don't know, there are these giant screens that they project the images of, and then they're like obviously CG computer generated images, and then they just shoot against them. So I think they can serve a purpose. I think it's really good technology, but boy, does this just stand out when it looks. Yeah, when you're like noticing the slightest things, there's like I feel like they're just a mix. Like maybe don't commit to everything. The volume, like maybe the volume could serve a purpose, but
for the more CG heavy stuff, or stuff that you just can't do practically, it makes sense to go for something like that rather than just CGIing it later. I'm sure there's elements of like the volume and stuff like that. Obviously, there's a shot of like a big mining set or whatever. I don't know. I can't imagine that was done practically.
They said they've shot. I don't know if they were lying, but Tony Gilroy, the show creator, in an interview said that everything is either studio backlots, or whatever you call it, backlots or whatever, or on location. So is what he said. Okay. So.
Well, I imagine that's just a CGI thing, but
yeah. No, of course, and then special effects.
There's going to be a ton of special effects and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, you could definitely tell that there's a lot of real stuff there. Obviously, we've seen before, they showed, what did I say, Disney Plus Day? Last year, they showed behind the scenes of them making
snippet.
And there was massive sets. It's there's just an added extra element of realism. Especially for the people like you who can notice the slight differences of because you've got your 8K television with every single pixel available to you. Me sitting here in blissful ignorance. It's it all looks real.
Blissful ignorance is a nice way.
It all looks the same.
Very nice way of putting it. But I don't think it's just the way it looks. I think obviously it looks really it does look really good, but tonally and just subject matter wise and just the mix of the music and the pacing of this trailer, this generally just felt this felt like a movie. This felt way more exciting as a trailer than I think the Obi-Wan trailers did, than any of the Mandalorian trailers did, than the Book of Boba Fett trailer. I honestly feel like this is the most movie-like trailer that they've put out since the last movie. Or am I do you reckon that's hyperbole? I'm not saying excitement, general public excitement. I'm just going as a trailer.
I guess, because this one seems to be, they showed a lot of action heavy elements and that kind of stuff. Whereas I feel like some of the other trailers were kind of mood setters. Especially the Obi-Wan ones and that kind of stuff. So I think you could, saying it's like a movie is hard to say because obviously there's some movies that are slower paced and not as big of a spectacle. So, but yeah, this seems like it's going to be a big deal, and it does feel very different to everything else I've done before, which I feel like is a huge draw as well.
Yeah, and so with what you were saying before about it being an ensemble thing, we've kind of known that from the start because they the first trailer focused on, it was either they had a lot of Genevieve or Riley, and we've known that she was going to be one of the main players. And you obviously know when they're cutting backwards and forwards between her in the playing pretend in the Senate and whatever else, you're obviously not going to have Diego Luna, bloody Cassian Andor running around in those scenes. They're definitely going to be cutting it backwards and forth. Andor is he is the main character, but also it's very much about the show's about the started rebellion and all that sort of stuff is what it's about. But this trailer focusing a lot on Stellan Skarsgård's character, which I don't actually know if we know his name.
Luthen, according to Wikipedia.
Okay, they must say it at some point, but seems to be someone else similar. Maybe he's like, because he bumps into everyone in this trailer, including our first look at Forrest Whitaker's return as bring out the Borgullet.
We'll call it War. Whoa. Yeah.
Whoa. So how do you how many episodes do you reckon old mate what's his name?
Forrest Whitaker?
No, the character. I'm trying to remember the character's name now.
Saul Guerrero?
Saul Guerrero, yeah. How often or how involved do you reckon he's going to be?
Maybe 2 or 3. I guess it depends on what the story is, what time period is kind of taking place, because it seems like there's potential there for like a lot of time jumping.
Well, they laid out the timeline, right? So the first season is I can't remember. Let's look it up. Let's just do it live. We're doing lots of things live today. Andor series timeline, because they laid out not only the timeline for this series, but then also for everything else going forward. So, and blah 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 blah. Premise: beginning 5 years before the events of Rogue One. So 5 years prior, and then they said that the following seasons will do something where it's like 3 years prior, 2 years prior, one, and then it'll be like 1 year prior by the time you get to the final. Right up to it goes right up to Rogue One. Yeah. But
there's obviously shots of Cassian as a kid, and Stellan Skarsgård with longer hair and that kind of stuff. So I think there'll be like some flashback elements.
Flashbacks, yeah.
I'm predicting no back to tanks though, purely because we got that doctor dude like with his multiple arms and syringes.
Yeah,
so
I can only hope. Imagine if you might see how I don't know, like obviously Saul Guerrero, you get to see when we see him in when he was in Clone Wars, like you're seeing in his last appearances in that, you're seeing him going a bit more anarchist, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. So, but I reckon in this we'll get to see him be a bit more like potentially a turning point towards him being more of a, I can't remember what if I can actually call it, what his word is, but yeah. Anything else from any standouts to you, like any favorite moments or anything like that you remember seeing?
No, it's just very good, solid across the board. There's one line that's just like, you got caught in my net. Are you a fish or a thief? That sounds like a weird line, but maybe that's like a weird Empire person trying to be intimidating. I do love Diego Luna's like opening monologue of like, the Empire's not know if you want to fit in, just pretend like you're meant to be there. They're that little piggies, pretty much.
It's the same line that was in the last trailer. They're still fat and full or whatever. Like, yeah. It's really good.
Yeah. Well, and then Mon Mothma, like, if I'm so much of an irritant, they won't notice what I'm doing in here.
Yeah. And then that other character's like, what are you doing or whatever. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm really keen to see more Mon Mothma, more Genevieve O'Reilly, more Mon Mothma, a character which has such a major role in like Star Wars history as the leader of the rebellion, but has seen little screen time in any property. Like she has some appearances in animated spin-off stuff, but outside of live action movie stuff, she has like 2 minutes in the prequels and then probably 2 minutes in the original trilogy.
It's kind of interesting when you think about it. It's like, because if you were like, hey, who's the leader of the rebellion? You'd be like,
Harrison Ford. I don't know, like someone will be like, I don't know, Yoda. Like, no one really knows if you're not.
Yeah, interesting that they've never explored that character more. So yeah, that's exciting in that regard. So yeah, what do you think of the 3-episode premiere?
I think it was never meant to be 3 episodes. I think they just, because they delayed it, to like have an extra episode.
Yeah, trying to make you feel better. It's like,
I reckon that was supposed to be 2 because that's what they usually do, and I reckon they've just gone, nah, if I can have one more.
It's like, no, we want to have it finished by the same date.
Yeah, we want to have it finished by still like because it's finishing like 2 weeks before Christmas. So if they had not, it would have been finishing like right up until Christmas. So I can.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine. We don't know the episode length, and as we've said before, Disney Plus, you could have a 40-minute first episode and then 2 20-minutes afterwards. So it's like you're going to be watching 3 episodes, but it's going to be like 90 minutes total. So or less than, for all we know. I think it's totally fine. Doesn't bother me.
Also, 12-episode season, which I think is the longest of these Star Wars shows so far.
Definitely long. And then they'll confirm the next season is as long. So
yeah.
Again, I don't think it's them pushing for episodes for the sake of episodes. I just think that Tony Gilroy and the other people who had like helping break and write the show, I just think that they just had the material to do here. Like it's more than just Andor. Like they've got this. You can see here. There's all these new characters that we know nothing about, and they've got all this, as we're talking about, Mon Mothma, a character we've had little explored about. I definitely feel like there is more than enough room to have a series go for the length of these episodes. There's plenty to be explored here, plenty to be seen. It does make me wonder though. Do you reckon we will see? This was my last question as we wrap up here. Because I can't. There's like nothing. There's just lots of really cool moments, but there's nothing like in a trailer. I'm like, oh, this mind blowing moment or whatever. It's like I watched the trailer twice. I was like, this trailer's fucking awesome. I can't wait for this show. I was already like sort of keen for this, but just because like coming off the last couple series, like as I said, Obi-Wan, enjoyed it. It's fine, Like Book of Boba Fett, obviously we didn't really like. Like I'm just sort of like I don't want to get too excited, but man, I'm coming off this trailer. I've watched it twice. I'm like, fuck, they've got me. I'm keen. Like, I fool me once, fool me twice. I don't know. Like I'll put my hope into this one. But I wonder if we'll see Jyn Erso. Now the thing is, you'll be like, Dylan, we can't because her and Cassian never met until Rogue One. Yes, but we know we're not always going to be with Cassian.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, what if in that scene we saw Guerrero? Like she's somewhere in the background.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember what age she left him, but I think it would be cool to tie in. Look, I'm not against a few of our Rogue One cameos.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're characters who literally got one movie and then died. So, like, you have a very small window for them to show up in other things. Like,
yeah.
And then the other thing, let me throw this out here now because I got so excited watching this trailer this morning. Do you want to rewatch Rogue One? Do we want to rewatch Rogue One as a prequel episode for this?
Maybe, yeah. It's been a while.
I kind of want to watch.
I mean,
Rogue
we've
One.
never watched it for this podcast, so I mean,
no, true. Like it's because I'm watching it from a different purpose now. I'm not watching it at a Star Wars as a whole universe. I want to watch Rogue One as I'm watching it for Cassian and those other characters that could potentially show up and blah 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 blah. Like, so.
I mean, we can do that.
Yeah, lock it in.
Lock it in like the week before, like I said.
Yeah, lock it in. You will have a spoiler discussion of Rogue One going up the week before. So there'll be
September 14th,
like 16th or something. Is it?
I mean, if we're putting out the Wednesday.
What is it? September. So this starts on the 21st. Yeah, 14th, right? Yeah, I'm bad at maths.
Wait, it'll probably be the 22nd for us. I think.
No, the email this morning said 21. So
okay, so yeah.
I saw the Gmail, so the Disney PR. Anyway, really cool trailer. Really excited to look forward to all those sorts of things. Look forward to going rogue on this Holocron Entries podcast feed, of course, where we'll be discussing each and every episode of the Andor series as it comes out, including that the first night we'll discuss all three. We'll discuss 3 episodes in one. We're not going to do separate episodes. And then everything else I mentioned at the top end as well. If you're fans of those shows, search South of King's Landing. We're coming back. Game of Thrones podcast is coming back. Search The Lord Rings Extended. Middle Earth podcast. We've got a Rings of Power after show coming up. Search all new Marvel cast. We've just wrapped up some stuff, and then we're going to have some She-Hulk discussions coming up very soon with that show, launches in just a couple weeks. So, and then of course more movie TV stuff. What do you want to watch? Have all the podcasts. Subscribe to them all. Cross pollination, cross promotion everywhere. Until next time on this feed, which should be for the Rogue One discussion a week before on the September 14th. We'll see you there. Have a great time. Stay rebellious.
This is what revolution looks like.